In this video, we're going over the story of how I went from being really unhappy in my corporate job, feeling disconnected from my goals, to now being financially free and traveling pretty much full time and golfing pretty much every day. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Jonathan here. I was able to achieve financial freedom at 27 years old, mainly through real estate, Airbnb, wholesaling, podcasting, and this channel deep dives into the step-by-step tactics on how you can do the same. This video will cover a bit of everything: my backstory, my first investment strategies, how I made a plan on Airbnb, wholesaling, and multifamily to leave my job. So a few years ago, I wasn't in such a good place. I was working a job I didn't like, selling a product that was kind of dying, and I didn't really see any connection to my long-term goal of financial freedom. So a lot has definitely changed since then, but before we get into the how of how this all changed, I think it's important to understand the why for a sec. Initially, I fell into what is known as golden handcuffs. I soon followed that up by trying to keep up with everyone around me. I was making pretty good money and I was working my way up the old corporate ladder, buying the fancy watches, a closet full of suits, Tumi bags, more work shoes than I could ever actually wear, spent too much money going out and eating out, and just all that stuff. And yes, I understand that a doctor or lawyer or successful salesperson can be more successful if they are taken more seriously and if they project an image of success, but that's just not what was going on here. And that's when I started realizing I was just really unhappy. But at the time, I was so caught up. I felt like this was the answer and these were the things that were gonna make me happy. And I was wrong. And my justification was that just to keep it up. I was gonna keep doing it. I was gonna impress more people and hopefully get to my next promotion. But it turns out they didn't happen to even care. And the only thing that mattered to them was the results, and they were more worried about themselves. I was spending money because other people were spending money instead of spending money on things that I actually liked or had interest in. I also made a very common mistake. I signed a long-term lock-in lease. It was very expensive in Long Island for about $2,300 a month. It was a lot more space than I needed, but looking back, I felt like I didn't have a choice. It was so weird. Ultimately, I was listening to the wrong people, just giving the wrong advice. Advice like, you deserve it, or you're gonna want that extra space in the apartment. But looking back, I was accepting advice from people who didn't know what my goals were, and they also weren't in a position that I wanted to be in one day. If you take one thing from this video, take this. Falling into the habit of lifestyle creep as you're starting your business and investing career is a legit disaster. Lifestyle creep just means that your expenses increase in proportion to your income. After a while, I also realized that making all these lock-in decisions really stressed me out. And what I realized after was that all these decisions started to feel heavy and really limiting with what my next moves could be. And ultimately feel even more stuck on the path I was on, which all led to this stuff, and it wasn't great. It felt like hamster wheel-ish or Groundhog's Day, just getting up over and over doing the same thing and the result not changing at all. Not good. Fast forward to today, my living expenses are usually no more than $3,000 a month. I've pretty much been traveling full time. I still work because I like it, but all my costs to live are paid for by assets that run with or without me. My life is much simpler and I'm actually happy. So what changed for me and how you can use the same change to leave your job? We're gonna break it down into steps. I was always interested in the money, but after a while in the job and seeing more weird things happen like layoffs and other people just miserable in their jobs, I knew I was on the wrong path and needed to make a change. Step one is realizing that it's time for a change. The first step is definitely not asking your boss or coworkers what you should do. They're in the same position that you don't want to be in. The second step I would recommend for you would be to start cutting back your expenses as much as possible. Employers want you to spend a lot of money. Acquiring more bad debt and living above your means so you can stay dependent on the job forever is what they're hoping for. When you start by taking back the leverage and being less reliant on them, things can start changing really quickly. And because financial freedom is about replacing your cost to live, not replacing your income, the lower your cost of living is at the beginning, the easier it'll be to build a side hustle or an investment strategy to replace that amount. Then I started getting really interested in real estate and passive income. I was probably spending 2 to 3 hours a day just learning about different strategies. I picked Airbnb investing and wholesaling after spending a lot of time on multifamily. That's step 3, starting to pick topics to get educated on. We have lots of videos about the specific tactics, but it can be pretty much anything. Things like garage selling, which is flipping garage sale stuff on eBay, estate, flipping Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist free sections for profit, Airbnb managing for other people, Airbnb arbitrage, flipping houses, creating content on TikTok or YouTube, starting a podcast, or other stuff. There's so many options out there, but you need to learn about them. And I know this decision can feel overwhelming or daunting, so if it does, what I would recommend would be to start consuming as much content as possible at the beginning. And as you do that, write down the names of the people or the topics that get you the most excited. For me, that was real estate, since it was a proven strategy and didn't require tons of innovating or creativity. There was a blueprint to follow. There were also a few people I really admired. Neil Bawa and Tim Ferriss were my favorite entrepreneurs or investors that I wanted to model what I was doing after. But you may see it and realize you want to do dropshipping or affiliate marketing because you're good at running ads or something else. This is going to be specific to you, but it's a good time to just self-assess by watching all that content. Once you feel good about the topic, or at least good enough to devote 90 days to it, the next step is getting as educated as possible on that topic, or find out how you can get close to the leader in that space so you can work on your plan. One point regarding education I forgot to mention earlier, I don't think it would be a bad idea to buy a course or invest in a coaching program, but some people are more down the path of figuring it out themselves, but that's just up to you. At this point in my life, I like to buy a course or have a coach so I can save time and be on track for any new project, but it's really up to you and your financial situation. Then it becomes how intense your desire to leave the job is. That'll dictate how much time each day you want to devote on your side hustle. I think for most people, you can make an impact with 1 hour a day if you stay consistent with it. But if you want to be out of your job in 6 months or less, you may need more like 2 to 3 hours a day. And you might think that's really hard, but trust me, you can carve time if you want it bad enough. Either before work, on your lunch break, driving, working out, all ways to consume information and learn more as you're getting started at the beginning. And all this education is really important. At the beginning, it's really important before setting a goal, because I think a lot of people set goals too low or too high when they don't have a proper base education. But I think a fair goal for anyone watching this would be financial freedom in 1 to 2 years. If you know your exact cost to live and it's not extravagant, any of the side hustles mentioned can get you to financial independence, or at least out of your daytime job and onto a laptop where you can work anywhere. Lastly, you need to reconnect with your why all the time. For me, it was getting out of the job. For you, it may be something else. Whatever it is, it needs to be plastered on your walls, on your computer, on your phone, everywhere. I will be financially free by this date because sitting in this job takes me away from my family, or so I can play golf more, or so I can move to a better neighborhood. Whatever it is, that will be the motivation when you don't want to make cold calls or sit through another training on setting up your Airbnb or whatever. We all feel it, but having a strong why really helps push through this. From there, it's really just about following a plan with a scorecard. We give away the scorecard we use if you just comment and sub to this channel, but you can use your own if you want. When you have a scorecard filled out with tactics, then you can find an accountability partner or a mentor to help you with brainstorming and just positive peer pressure to make sure you're on track. Factor all those things together and you should definitely be able to start a side hustle that can generate at least $2,000 to $4,000 a month within 1 to 2 years. And that's it, guys. If you got any value from these videos, please make sure to like and hit that subscribe button. We're going to be posting more 3 talking head videos a week going forward on this channel and answering any questions you guys have on investing, low money down real estate, and achieving financial freedom at a young age. And if you haven't seen this series, I give out every tool and strategy you need to get started with Airbnb for free. So I highly recommend you check that video out. It'll be linked in the summary, and that's that. Until next time, guys, be great and good luck escaping your job.